Hello, I'm Dan Rather, and welcome to the CBS Evening News Online Edition. Just ahead, a bloody day of intimidation and terror in Iraq. Insurgents target potential voters and those who must protect them. Also, the risk of refinancing to consolidate debt. Before you sign up, see the CBS Friday Consumer Alert. And Texas is the temple of high school football. But are new stadiums, costing tens of millions, sending the right message to students? It's all starting now on the CBS Evening News Online Edition. Paratroopers of the U.S. Army's 82nd Airborne Division are on their way back to Iraq tonight, part of a troop build-up to provide more security for elections scheduled next month. And today, another graphic example of what they're facing and why they're needed. It was one of the most violent days in weeks, with bombs killing 2 American soldiers and a still officially undetermined number of Marines. And CBS's Kimberly Dozier reports Iraqi police and civilians were hit even harder.
It was a two-pronged attack at dawn when the police least expected it. Gunmen easily overwhelmed the overnight crew at the station house near Baghdad's airport, killing at least a dozen policemen. In a second attack, gunmen stormed another station, then a car bomb went off nearby, ripping into a Shiite mosque. The mosque bore the brunt of the blast, and when worshippers poured out of the early morning prayers to put the fire out, the car exploded a second time, killing even more. And west of Baghdad, in Ramadi, the insurgents hit yet another police station, clashing with American troops who rushed in to stop them. The attacks hit 2 groups which are key to Iraqi elections. Iraqi security forces needed to keep the peace on polling day, and Shiite Muslims, who make up the largest potential voting bloc in the country. Much of the morning's violence was claimed on a website by Abu Musab al-Zarqawi and his Al-Qaeda of Iraq. Zarqawi and other militant groups have threatened to kill anyone helping to bring elections about. U.S. Marines continue to uncover the gruesome remains of Zarqawi's terrorist structure in Fallujah. This, they believe, was another place hostages were imprisoned, from which they tried to escape.
We found enough blood and evidence that we believe that it was used to torture prisoners. What type of prisoners, we don't know. We did find fingernails in the wall there from what looked like they were digging their way out.
Militants continue to terrorize in other parts of Iraq. They set up a daring checkpoint in the center of Mosul, where U.S. officials believe Zarqawi may have fled. American commanders hope their troop buildup over the next 2 months will help keep the insurgents off balance. But as today showed, the terrorists keep finding and exploiting the coalition's weakest points. Kimberly Dozier, CBS News, Baghdad.
It's very popular with some homeowners, refinancing the mortgage to consolidate debt. But before you sign on the dotted line, better check the bottom line. CBS's Sandra Hughes shows you what can happen if you don't in CBS's Friday Consumer Alert.
After 21 years living on the same block, sharing a home with her mother, Ruby Gomez may have signed away their security.
Do you think there's a chance you and your mom could lose this house?
There is.
Looking to pay off $20,000 in personal debt with the equity in their home, mother and daughter refinanced. They say the loan broker promised a low interest rate and a lower monthly payment. But Ruby's credit rating pushed the interest rate up, and it wasn't until she signed loan documents that she realized her house payment was going up.
I feel desperate, that I need to do something, and I don't know what. At night I go to bed dreaming about it. So what am I going to do today, or where am I going to get the funds to pay next month's mortgage?
Technically, nothing illegal was done to the pair. They did what millions of Americans do every year, refinance their home to consolidate debt. The problem is, according to the Federal Reserve, 1/4 of those homeowners end up with a larger loan.
We process your loan differently online.
But that hasn't stopped the trend spurred on by national advertising campaigns. Kevin Barnes, who went to prison for mortgage fraud, knows the temptation to close the deal no matter the cost to consumers.
The broker's taken full advantage of the borrower not being able to afford the property at a later date.
Now he lectures mortgage brokers on their ethical obligation to homeowners.
Person that committed the fraud.
Still, mortgage experts warn consumers have an obligation too. Read the closing documents, know what your interest rate and payment will be.
And the more we educate a consumer about how a broker does business and what they need to know and understand, and what the fine line is between an ethical loan and an unethical loan.
Otherwise, you may end up like Ruby Gomez and her mother.
Basically, you're trying to get yourself in a better financial situation,
Right, exactly.
and you're going to get yourself now in a worse financial situation.
Oh, yeah. Because I've incurred some credit card debt trying to make ends meet.
Now, after 2 decades of home ownership, the two are at risk of becoming renters again. Sandra Hughes, CBS News, Montclair, California.
We close this week and begin this weekend with football. Sunday is for the pros, Saturday for college, and Friday night, that's for high school football. In Texas, bigger and more expensive than ever. As CBS's Bob McNamara reports.
It is a Texas Friday night right. High school football, where hometown pride is a passion play. But on land that once grazed cattle, gridiron cathedrals have grown. This $20 million, 11,000-seat Denton Stadium has closed-circuit television and instant replays on a scoreboard 3 stories tall.
There's a lot of colleges that wish they had a facility as nice as this one.
But where fans can watch in glassed-in comfort and games play out on state-of-the-art carpets of plastic turf, where's the educational bang for the buck?
We feel that athletics provides so many lifelong lessons to our athletes.
Today, a bond issue-funded Dallas sports complex is one of 15 new or planned area high school projects totaling $180 million tax dollars.
This is an epidemic, and this is a serious, serious epidemic.
Buzz Bissinger authored Friday Night Lights.
So let's take care of it!
Based on the bestseller, the film is flash frames of what can happen when a town's high school football obsession glorifies a game at the expense of an education.
You're going to have the same problems that you have in major college. You're going to have recruiting, you're going to have programs that have spent all this money and need to stock it with players, you're going to have free transfers. It's going to be a disaster.
It is a Cadillac of stadiums for high school. Do we need such a Cadillac? I think we could have done pretty good with a Buick.
Elizabeth Ellison's criticism of this $26 million stadium got her elected to the Round Rock, Texas School Board.
Meanwhile, across the street in that subdivision, the residents over there are crying for an elementary school.
Texas, they say, is the holy land of high school football. And in a state that cuts funding for textbooks and teacher health benefits, it is still easier selling bond issues for football than physics labs. Bob McNamara, CBS News, Dallas.
More stories are just a click away, but be sure to join me on television for the on-air edition of the CBS Evening News. On Monday's broadcast, a town betrayed. A local big shot's financial house of cards collapses, but it's his neighbors who pay the heaviest price. For CBSNews.com, I'm Dan Rather.